Boom. Right there. We are live on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel, Yankees Outdoor Adventures. I am Maèxelawèn Osapèkwinùnt. You know me as Yankee. And I am doing another Outdoor Enthusiast live. I kind of ramble for a few minutes in the beginning of these streams to give people a couple minutes to get in here. And of course, if you're here for the replay, don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know that you stopped in, watched the replay. It's always great to hear from you. Hello, Uncle Al, and a great good evening to you. In the very beginning of this video, I'm also going to give you guys a quick outdoor adventure, really easy outdoor adventure. And especially if you're the type of person who likes to play with a telescope outdoors, you're going to love this because you can get a fix on not one, but two planets. Saturn and Jupiter they're actually going to make what they call a collision. Okay, now of course Saturn and Jupiter are very far apart and they will never collide. However, from our perspective, the two are going to collide. That's kind of a unique situation. Now it's unique because it only happens about once every 20 years, but it's even more unique than that. It's more unique than that because this time it's happening on the winter solstice, and that only happens once about every 200 years. So it is kind of a rare occurrence. But the coolest thing is you can see it with your naked eye, and it's easy to find. You can step outdoors actually right now if you have a clear sky. And as we get closer to the winter solstice, it'll be earlier in the evening. You got to catch it because it'll set in the horizon. But you just got to look to the southwest sky and look for those two bright stars that are sitting on a 45-degree angle of each other. Trust me, they stick out like a sore thumb. And when you look up and you see those two, know that you're looking at Saturn and Jupiter right there. And those two are going to actually come together and make what science is calling a Christmas star, since it's so close to Christmas Day. But it will look like a very large body in the sky when they get real close to each other. So, all right, I wanted to throw that out there. Guys, I have a guest with me today, Justin, and Justin's sitting on this side of me. Justin is an outdoor enthusiast. He has a great YouTube channel, over 10K. He's a serious YouTuber, and he's been doing a lot of cool things on his channel. His link is in my description, so if you are interested, and I please encourage you, stop by, check it out, especially all my outdoors fans. It's definitely right up your alley. Justin, thank you for being here today, man. It is great to see you.
Man, you're welcome, and thank you.
Thank you for giving you a moment to say a word, right?
It's all good.
Let me point out what I got behind me real quick too, as we're letting the room come in. And hello, Happy Trails. I see you out there, and it's a great big hello to you. You notice my background here today is kind of foggy looking. Well, that's because it is fog. Yesterday morning we had some really cool fog, and why I say it's really cool fog is because of the fact that this particular fog was taking place at a 32-degree temperature, which was creating a really cool effect known as freezing fog. And as you can see here, it's so cool because the fog and the light breeze is moving this way, so the ice crystals build from the surface up. And it's just a really neat effect. It doesn't happen everywhere, first of all, but it only happens here in this region maybe once every so many years. You'll get an opportunity to see it like that. Wow. So, and I wanted to share that with everybody. So, have you ever seen frozen fog?
Oh, for sure. We call it rye mice out here.
Is it? Is that what you call it?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a proper name for it. I call everything by my own name.
Yes, so. I do the same thing, man. But I know it is rye mice. It takes over everything above the tree line here in New Hampshire. Just in case.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It actually, again, doesn't happen a whole lot around here, but when it does, and you can get some really cool pictures, it's neat.
It's pretty cool. So,
Justin. Yeah. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. That's the whole thing is
Gotta be
And
there.
what we try to encourage on the channel, guys, it's not hard to do something. Just, you just got to get up to do something. That's what it is.
That's the
what it
hardest
takes.
part.
So, well, in some cases, it is the hardest part. And that's why I'm hoping somebody who listened to the beginning of this video takes a moment. If you got a clear sky, go look at Jupiter and Saturn, because you definitely will see them. You'll spot them without a doubt. Salones, welcome. And Shasta Valley, it's great to have you here. Justin, let me ask you, what is your favorite outdoor activity?
The one I'm doing when I'm doing it, man. Honestly, I love them all, dude.
I get it, man. I do. I feel that. Is there something particular that gets you to go out, or is it just whenever you can?
Kind of whenever I can, and when things motivate me and inspire me. That's when I tend to get into things.
I'd say, like, right now, I know you got that build going on, so I'm sure that's probably a little bit of an encouragement, just to get out there. And guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, again, check out his channel. One of I've seen a lot of builds on YouTube, camp builds, and I gotta say, Justin, man, yours is pretty freaking awesome, dude.
Oh,
it is. I gotta say,
it's been a labor
straight
of
up.
love.
You should have just kept going and built a log cabin, man. You were halfway there.
I was, but it's not what I wanted, ultimately. And
yeah, like I said, I did watch a lot of the videos, man, and I followed along with your change of plans, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
it happens.
Wait. Now, Justin, have you always enjoyed the outdoors, or is it something that you did when you got older? Or?
No, I've always loved it. Always, since I was a little kid. I had a pretty bad childhood, and that drove me into the woods at a really early age. And that's where the love for it started. Real young, like 4, 5, out there in the woods as often as I could.
That was just your go-to place. Awesome, man.
It was my safe space.
Yeah, allowed you to connect good anyway, man.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, at the age, since we talked about being young there, at the age of, say, 10 years old, would a 10-year-old Justin have pictured yourself where you sit today, or do you think your life would have been different?
Boy, didn't have the insight at that point. That's a really tough question. At 10, things were looking pretty bleak, man. So sitting here where I am today it's a good thing.
All right.
It's a real good thing.
Well, man, that sounds to me like you overcome a lot, and that's that's something to be proud of, without a doubt.
More than some, less than others,
Right. Yeah, we all have our walks in life, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Well, Justin, how about from where you sit right now? Where do you think you see yourself 10 years from now?
Hanging out with my daughter in the woods, my wife and daughter and dogs.
Awesome. Yeah. I seen your daughter helps you on your builds sometimes there, which that's great. I mean, when you get kids involved at a young age, you teach them to love the outdoors young, they'll never forget that. They'll have that in them the rest of their lives.
I couldn't agree more. And that was literally 80% of my motivation of building that structure in the woods, was to have a safe, secure spot to bring my daughter at a whim, whenever I want, to teach her about the woods.
Exactly. And you can now too. I mean, you can year round
building
when you get everything finished out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just got 10 inches of snow a few days ago, and my family and we walked out there today to check it out, and it's doing its thing. Pretty awesome. Kept all the snow out, still standing. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me say a big hello to AOK Foraging, and Uman is in the house. Shasta Valley is also here.
Look, guys.
Guys, welcome to the show. It's always great to have all of you here. Today's guest is Justin from It's Good in the Woods. and it is good in the woods. You guys definitely, if you have a moment, check out his channel. And Justin, did you have a childhood nickname or oh,
Not that I can recall.
not that you can remember? I know you said you didn't really. That's probably not your best memories. So, what is your biggest passion? And you could take that any way you want.
My family and outdoors, being outdoors. Honestly, that's it.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah, it reflects on my lifestyle and everything. I mean, we're homesteaders. We try and grow as much food as possible, all our meat, as many vegetables and stuff as possible. I mean, it's just like, it's a lifestyle. I mean, outdoors, nature, like all of that. So I just roots grounded right in, you know, and I get along better with the trees than I do with the populace, the populace for sure. So
I hear you there, man. She's got better personality. And speaking of better personality, hello, Inspired John. No, I just had to do that. But Inspired John is here. Hello and welcome. Guys, again, Justin shares all the things he was talking about on his channel. So if you're interested in the homesteading, the shelter builds and things along those lines, please definitely pay him a visit. And I think I'd already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are you most proud of?
Oh boy, my family, right?
Dude, I knew it.
Cool.
Okay. No, that's all right though, man. I knew you were gonna say that though, but I got that vibe off of you so much from just from the few minutes. We're 12 minutes into this video, and I can definitely get the family vibe, which is that is so cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to take my kids all the time with me when they were young too, and that's what gets them to appreciate it when they're older.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
What is something that people seem to misunderstand about you, if anything?
I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't tell you. It's like one of those outside looking in things that, boy,
do you get into much? Do you get into much philosophies at all?
I tend not to. Not to. I'm more of a black and white, see it as it is or as I perceive it to be type of thing. And I tend to not ponder on the what ifs or how comes. Just take it, deal with it, focus.
I got to sidetrack my normal questions for a minute because you actually piqued my interest with the fact that how about a spirituality when in the woods at all? Is it something you still look at black and white?
That's a good question.
I mean, it's okay if you do.
I don't think so, because there's definitely a deep introspective part of being outdoors, especially on solo trips and stuff, which I particularly enjoy. I really like to be out in the woods on adventures by myself. And yeah, a lot of that is the introspective, finding yourself, really tunnel vision in on who you are and why you are who you are and how fortunate you happen to be and how everything turned out and why it all turned out. So yeah, I guess there's definitely a spiritual element there for sure. But I think
but maybe something that you really, when you're outdoors, you may dabble in that spiritual side, but the rest of the time you try to look at things more basic, and which is fine.
As they need to be dealt with. Yeah. But for sure, on those solo trips and stuff, when you're sitting there in the quiet time, that's what it's all about. On those solo trips, and they really start thinking about stuff that you don't normally maybe prioritize.
It's not, it's not known like to be safe to advise people to go off by yourself, but to plan a safe trip of some sort and to do it alone, like Justin's saying, there's a lot of value to that when you're actually in the middle of nowhere and you only have the sounds of nature around you and your thoughts. there's value. There's definitely value to that. Justin, for your great grandchildren, do you have a message you could give them if they were watching this?
Do it yourself. Don't wait for anybody. Get out there and get it done.
Boom. That's good advice. That's good advice for everybody's children. And everybody, without a doubt.
Cheers.
What was that?
I said cheers.
They said cheers. No doubt. I got my coffee here. Again, let me I just want to look at the chat room again here real quick and see. We got I think I got everybody addressed. Inspired John, A-OK. If I missed anybody, shout out. Let me know you're in there. Definitely say a big hello to you.
Thanks for tuning in.
And definitely thanks for tuning in. What would be your best tip for putting together an overnight trip for a novice?
Keep it within your boundaries. You know, for a novice, yeah, don't push yourself too hard. You know,
go simple,
small,
right?
Small and steady, slow and steady.
Yeah, think small. That's right. That's great. That's great advice. I know I talk to people wanting to do long trails for their first time, and it's like, really get out and do a bunch of short trails for a couple months. Get ready for the long trails. That's the type of advice.
Try camping out in your backyard first. See if it works.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. If that's what you can do. There isn't. And it's great for the kids to boot. If you got kids, camp out in your own backyard. There's definitely nothing wrong with it.
We do it all the time. All the time.
And even if you're in the suburbs, you may find that in the middle of the night in your own backyard, it's kind of a unique sounding difference than the hustle and bustle of the day.
Yeah, good change of pace. Yeah,
definitely. Is there any particular person that inspires you right now to find adventure and to do things?
My buddy Randy Pierce always inspires me to the max, to the core, like big time for sure. Yeah, he's a personal friend of mine and has a lot to do with the way my life turned out. He's a blind guy, and he's just one of the most inspiring people I've ever met in my entire life. And we've become really, really good friends throughout the course of knowing each other, and he's just a huge inspiration. And awesome life. The guy's always positive. He's been dealt a pretty bad card, and he's done nothing but turn it around and make it positive. I mean, he goes out and talks to children and raises all kinds of money, has started foundations and done all kinds of stuff. And just
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Yep. He doesn't let his difficulties overcome him. That's for sure.
Sorry about that. I didn't see, what was it? Shasta Valley said, I have more predators in my backyard than there are in the woods. And I could see that. And Uman said that you gotta get used to what goes bump in the night. And that's a definite. One piece of advice I would always give as well, if you're taking somebody with you and they're not a novice, don't try to scare them with the bumps in the night. Sometimes that's easy for us to do, and it might seem funny. But if you want them to enjoy their experience, then let them know what they're hearing and let them learn instead of scare them about it.
Yes, scaring people can be extremely counterproductive.
It can.
I wouldn't want to take my daughter into the woods and scare the piss out of her. So that would be like not good.
No,
it's counterproductive.
No. Yeah, it's counterproductive. Absolutely. Definitely. I think that's one of the biggest problems guys have a lot of times when they bring a girl, is because they're easy to scare, so it's funny, but you're actually killing your experience. You really are, and especially if you want to bring her again in the future. If let me go switch back to YouTube for a minute, because you have a great YouTube channel. You get a lot of action over there.
Thank
You're
you.
a 10K channel. I mean, a lot of YouTubers, and whether or not you knew this, a lot of YouTubers, uh, that's what they see as a serious YouTuber. They begin to feel like, once you hit that 10K, you're serious, and uh, so people look up to your channel. Believe it or not, if you know that or not. But if there was one thing if there was one thing that you wish you knew before you started YouTube, was there anything?
Yeah, to try and start small, I guess would be my word of
Okay.
advice. It came as a real blow to me when I started YouTube. When I started YouTube, just like everyone else, I'm sure you're already watching YouTube and subscribe to these other channels, and you're paying attention to people, and you've commented back and forth, and you kind of feel like you're a little involved in some way, shape, or form. And then you start a YouTube channel and try and interact with them, and it's like cue the crickets, because it's like you're trying to steal their thunder or something. So that was a really big disappointment for me, and that might not happen to everybody because everybody's experience is their own. But that was a real blow for me in terms of YouTube. It was like, wow, okay, I get it.
Right.
It's
Right.
like a big, huge. It's like paying attention to a big, huge band, and you pay for their tickets, and they love you, and they tell you you're part of a family, and then like you try and talk to them on the street or something, and you're just a piece like of rubbish blowing by. It's like
It is social media when it comes down to it. So there is all the
absolutely,
blues of social
absolutely.
media. As a YouTuber, and a lot of other YouTubers can feel the blues. Not only do you have to deal with the crap that anybody else deals with on social media, but you're actually opening yourself up even more personal, and you can get attacked even more deeper and personal. So it is something that stands out. Uman brings up something that's always a question of mine anyway. So I'll just go ahead and ask that one next.
Sure.
Do you believe there's a Bigfoot?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I sure do.
You are the very first confirmed yes. Most people either say no or they dance around it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to
You're
hang
my
out with
first
him.
confirmed yes.
I'd love to hang out with him. That'd be a ton of fun.
I always tell people he owes me money. That's why I don't ever see him.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, have you had a Bigfoot experience then in your past? Have you seen something that made you believe this, or is it just a hunch?
I just want to believe it.
Just want to believe, and I feel that, man.
I just
That's
want to believe it.
the mystery of the outdoors. See, I personally, those of you that follow me, that I do talk about a lot of the Native American spirituality and stuff,
I
and
love that
I
stuff.
like believing that Bigfoot is a spirit of a forest. I like believing that. So, I don't say there isn't a Bigfoot. I say most people mistake Bigfoot. They mistake him for the spirit of the forest, because that's who it is. But
Precisely something else.
but there's a pleasure in believing too. And I guess,
there's not too many mysteries left in life, so these things are fun.
Exactly. It seems like we get less and less. Polynesian Bear, welcome, my friend. It's great to have you here. Good man, Justin. Just the outdoors personal experience, but quite probable. Okay, I guess we're still talking about Bigfoot there, and again, I don't dismiss anything. So first of all, I don't believe it until you skin it and put it on my table, and I don't dismiss it until you can some way prove to me that it can never be skinned and put on my table. No, don't skin a Bigfoot, man. Leave him alone. No Bigfoot. Don't harm the Bigfoot.
No, I'd give him refuge.
Yeah, I would too. right? Give him a bag of Slim Jims and. Or, uh, hey man, if you had a chance to travel, where would you like to go? Anywhere you haven't been in that you'd love to go?
Oh man, like of course, everywhere, right? Everywhere I haven't been that I want to be, I'd like to be there for sure.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then. Is it out of this country traveling, or is it all inter country traveling that you'd like to do?
Um, I think the world is vastly awesome, but there's so much here, just right where we are, that I think I'd be pretty content with that. You know, back when I
I
was
feel
younger,
you. You and I answer a lot the same way when it comes to a lot of these questions because I'm the same way too. I'd love to see the world, but there's so much here I haven't seen that I'd rather just
exactly.
start here. You
Yeah.
know.
Yep. Yep. And that's just me. I mean, I personally feel basically exactly the same way. I went to Canada once when I was 18 with a bunch of friends back when you were allowed to go into Canada when you're 18 without a passport. So that was quite a while ago. But other than that, it's all my travel's been in the country, and I'm fine with that. I mean, there's so much more. Alaska included, obviously.
Uncle Al says try camping in Japan.
That would be awesome for sure.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying I would say no to the opportunity.
Same here.
If I was going to go to my own spot first, it would be somewhere here. Man, there's a lot of things here in this country I haven't seen. I've never walked through a redwood, so I'd like to do that. And that's here in this country. So let's see. I just love being in the swamplands. See, that's another. I think that'd be cool to spend some time buzzing around on a airboat down there, man. That'd be awesome.
That'd be wild fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
For sure. I mean, I definitely like to travel around and do different things. Absolutely.
Definitely. And there's things that you haven't seen in your own backyard, and I agree with that as well. A lot of people. All right, man. Let me ask you this: what was your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn from it?
Oh man.
And any question you feel like passing, you can.
That's cool. No, that's wow. I really don't know. I really don't know. I would say honestly, as I'm sitting here today looking back on it, I probably would have not done a lot of things that I did when I was younger that made me feel like a real pile of poo, But that's how you learn. So it's hard to say, hey,
what experiences actually make the human? And if you remove from your past, would you still be the same today?
Probably not.
And if you're happy with yourself today, if you're out there, whoever you are, and you can look in the mirror and be happy with who you are, maybe still strive to better yourself, but not feel down on who you are, then it's very possible every mistake you made is what led you to that. So
absolutely, 100%. That's how I feel, and that's why I don't look at it as failure. It's just part of the success. It's just another brick in the wall, and it's
all part of life, man. Right?
I've always said, be very wary of people that say I have no regrets. And those people have done stuff that they don't regret, man. It's like that's how you learn. Like I've done a lot of things I'm ashamed of, and I didn't do it twice. It's
I mean, some of them are things they can be, they can be simple too. They don't even have to be big bad things.
For sure.
Not knowing when to say the right thing or saying the wrong thing, or things like that. It can really with you in your head, but it makes you learn, like you said.
Absolutely.
Ask a chubby woman one time when the baby's due, and you'll understand what I'm saying. And I fortunately I've never done that. I've always known enough to keep my mouth shut.
Mama raised you right in one way or shape or form, right?
If you haven't failed miserably at something, you're not trying hard enough. That's a great statement.
It's all part of the process, so it's hard.
We all failed at
failure. Yeah, failure is good. Like
Yes.
adversity is your friend. Like,
And hi, Gemma. Gemma agrees. Yeah, we've all failed, and we do. That's what makes us grow.
absolutely makes you strong.
What advice would you give someone to if they were looking to get into being an outdoor enthusiast?
Looking to getting into being one?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say make sure you like it first. I mean,
And how would they do that?
Spending time out there. Get out there.
Excellent. And that's it, guys, because that's what, all in all, that's what it takes. That's what you got to do. And I know we get a lot of channels in here that already know that, but believe me, there's a lot out there that don't know what to do, or they're afraid that they can't do it. And, start small, your own backyard, and see that you can do that. Then go a little bit further, go a little bigger.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And be prepared to get your ass kicked. Like, that's part of it. That's my favorite way of learning. It's like, wow, that was intense. Woohoo.
Yeah. Or, you know what, here, because do your first overnight. And what I always tell people is like, well, if you want at least an overnight, if you go for a weekend, if you really want to know what you're missing, because I'll get people say, what am I missing in my pack? And I'll be like, well, go for a weekend. When you come home, I'll tell you exactly what you were missing, man. It's easy. Not only will I tell you what you're missing, I'll tell you what junk you brought that you didn't need to bring. Because whatever you didn't touch, that's just junk you didn't need to bring. And what that thing you wished you had, that's what you need to bring next time.
And that's how you learn, and that's different for everybody. That's why, not for nothing, and I'm not bashing any YouTuber by any means, but that's why that whole this is the best thing, the best the top 5 things you have to be comfortable in the woods, that's different for everybody, and that stuff kind of And
it is different for everybody, because you got to remember, it's the frame of mind and the perception of what you look at it. We look at today, we call it prepping and all this other crap. And here's a simple fact. To me, that points out how weak our society is, because we got to do something special to live in a situation. But if you turn back the clock, that's what people called living. They didn't have to do nothing special. They didn't have to prep for it. They just lived. They knew how to live, and you did what you had to do. And that's that. And we were so baby that we forget that there was a time like that.
I agree.
Man can live that way, believe it or not.
Sure. When people went nuts buying toilet paper, it's like, all that said to me was that those people are going to have a really hard time if things get real. You're losing your mind over toilet paper. You got no idea what's coming. No offense to anybody. I'm not pointing fingers. It's just my general thought on the subject. If toilet paper
seriously, because
you're going to have a hard time.
Toilet paper is a pretty mild thing, and it's when it's food that everybody's short on. That's when times get tough, man. And water, yeah. What's your number one resource you bring with you when you go on a trip?
First aid. I mean, if that's considered a resource,
that's a necessity to have. Do you have a favorite tool that you bring with you?
No, I don't think I do.
How about a knife? Do you have a particular knife that you?
I have.
You're pretty wild with the chainsaw, but I don't think you carry that in your.
Yeah, I know. I'm not carrying that anywhere, but and everything obviously pertains to the mission. It depends on what I'm doing. It's actually my favorite. All my gear is my favorite gear. The gear that I have is my favorite gear. That's the way I look at it. So when I'm in the woods with nothing but some wool clothes and a real cheap pocket knife, that cheap pocket knife is probably my favorite piece of gear. But I mean, I have pieces of gear that I treasure more than others because like they're my grandfather's or something of the sort like that. But I really don't have a favorite piece of gear. You know, I've got all kinds of different tents and all kinds of different backpacks and all kinds of different sleeping bags, and none of them are my favorite. So
Right.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm answering the question properly or not.
No,
But
no, you're doing that's fine because I mean I don't know how others perceive that, but I do the same thing. I have a day bag and it's 100% equipped with whatever knives or whatever else I may need. That's for the day bag, and then I have an overnight bag, and then I have a long bag. But any of the bags can just be grabbed on its own, and it's set for what I just said it's set for. You grab that bag, go out the door, and go do that.
Yep.
So I'm not taking a particular knife with me every time. I know there's a knife for what I would need on that type of trip is with that bag. It's with that kit, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
suited for the purpose.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't matter what name is on the handle. Well, no, and that's a definite there. I'm not a gear guy to where I'm worried about the brand of a gear. That's never me. If it works,
gear, but at the same time, I have some nice gear. You know, yeah, I agree with you. You know, I'm happy with a Fisker's axe because I go out and I beat the snot out of it, and you know, I'm not gonna want to beat on a Granford Brooks because I paid $250 for it. You know, I'd be afraid to scratch the thing.
I have a beautiful hatchet, one that I like showing off, and I have a regular hatchet that's showing off one. That's all it does. Yeah, it's sharp, it's pretty, but you know what? It's not made for what I do. No. And for me, if you hand me a hatchet, it's only good if I can throw it. So, you know, and I like, so that's beating, that's beating on them, more or less. So, and I feel the same way about an axe too. If I'm going to play with an axe any length of time, I'm going to throw it too, because I like throwing axes and hatchets. It's fun.
I've never thrown one, oddly enough.
What?
I've no. I've swung them many times, but never.
Oh my God! With your setup out there, I would find you nice big old stump to cut the round of, and set that up somewhere against some trees, and just throw axes and hatchets at that thing all day long.
I just might try and take it up. Can you throw any axe, or you need a throwing axe?
You could throw any, and I even got a video that teaches you how to do it.
Okay, I'll go check that out.
Yep, check it out. It's actually a pretty popular video of mine, although I wasn't good at making videos back then. I really need to remake it.
You could have just created
an old video.
You may have just created a monster, man.
Oh, dude, it's so fun. This summer I was getting into double axe throwing, which is even funner yet. I'm dangerous when you get playing with, man. I'll do two in one hand or hand in hand, which is really cool. And then I can go underhand with them too. It's a load of fun.
Yeah, it sounds good. It does now that you're talking about it.
Yeah, I'll get you hooked, man. You'll definitely get into it.
That's how it happens too. You never know. It's like, dude, seriously, like 7 or 8 years ago, while I was working with my crew, right, and I was a mason, and we play all these kinds of different games and stuff. We'd like take little pebbles and see who can hit the can at 30 yards or whatever. Just like basically being kids. And one of the buddies that I was working with playing this, he said, "Why don't you try archery? Do you ever get into traditional archery?" And I said, "No." He's like, "You should try it sometime." So I went out and thought about it for like a day. And it's like, it just click. It all made sense to me. I was like, yeah, I should probably do that. Bought a bow. I've been a traditional archer ever since, man. It's just like fell in love with it. All because he said, "Hey, why don't you try traditional archery? You'd probably be pretty good at it. You ever try that? You should." Cool.
Well, man, once you start throwing,
now I'm going to be throwing axes.
You'll get hooked. Axes are pretty easy because to start off throwing, you're just doing it gentle. You're doing it at 5 paces from the tree. You're only looking at 1 revolution from your axe. And once you get the feel of that, then you start putting power and going further if you want. Um, yeah. Once you start throwing, man, then you
Sounds
start
fun.
throwing everything they put in your hand. I'll do it with knives or anything. I love throwing.
Awesome. Good times.
Well, man, I usually run these about 30 minutes. And well, let me ask the audience if anyone has a question for Justin, please feel free to ask.
For sure.
Very important. If you make one, you can use it for Bart's or yeah. Some of them are cheap, like like them cheap Coleman. On me on Coleman Company. I'm sorry, Coleman. Stop making garbage, and I'll stop calling you. I had a guy get all mad at me about this too because I talk bad about Coleman, but I'm sorry.
Did someone get mad at you?
You know that. Yeah, somebody got mad at me on my last Coleman tent video. Man, he was all upset, and we corresponded back and forth a few times. I don't mind if somebody's upset. I'm still glad to hear from you. So, but they make one with a hollow neck. It's metal with a hollow neck. That thing could take about maybe about 50 throws before the neck bends to where the handle and blade are hitting at the same. And then once it gets to that, it can only handle about another 20 before it snaps the handle from off of it.
That's no good.
No.
But
I've broken many of them. All right, kitty. Yeah. I don't know if y'all hear my cat in the background.
Oh, yeah.
In the woods with Wolfie, welcome.
Hey, Wolfie, what's up, man?
Uman, and I agree. I was so disappointed with Coleman because they were a brand that when I was growing up, that was the brand to have was Coleman. And you had quality. Dude, they just, not anymore.
I was a little surprised because, like I left a comment on your video about that tent. I was surprised because I've had a Coleman tent for 20 plus years. My grandmother gave it to me when I graduated high school.
And that's it, man. You have that 20-year-old tent, that thing will still be usable.
I still have it. I still use it. I used it last fall.
You see, there's just I know I put a tent through more extreme tests than most people because most people don't use a tent for an entire season when they pull a tent out. Okay. And I accept that. And I try to make that clear to everybody that you got to understand I am putting the tent through one hell of a test. But on defense of the video I put out, and I know I trashed Coleman on it, other tents for less than half the money make it through that test. So that's not good for Coleman. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. One's a shredded mess and the other is just faded, but still not leaking and still can be used a second season. Well, the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah. And, competition's fierce these days. So your pudding better be good pudding.
Damn straight. I believe that too. Coleman used to be very, and I agree. Coleman used to be very. I love that Justin has a nice camp gear room with a small section in the garage. All right, there, hike. I understand, man. I'm on the porch. Not only is my gear stuck out here on the porch, it's where I gotta live most of the time too, man.
I have half.
Just be glad you're not.
Half of my basement is dedicated to as my gear room. Like one half of the basement is mine, the other half of the basement is ours. Yeah,
that is awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Sure. Love gear.
All right, Gemma, thank you, hon. We're gonna wrap up anyway. Justin, and I know we just talked about a bunch of stuff here today, but if there is there any question I didn't ask you that you would have asked you if you were sitting where I'm sitting?
Probably not. You're good at what you do.
I just, man, I think I talk too much. I'll rewatch this thing one time and judge myself harshly as I always do. But you have done great. you have done great. Believe me.
Well, thank you. It's been a
And
blast.
guys, again, I want to encourage you to check out Jason's channel. The link is in the description of this video. And Jason, do you have any other social media outlets that you use? You can feel free to plug them if you
I don't,
you
honestly.
don't. Okay.
I've
That's
been
okay.
told a million times I need Instagram to build my YouTube channel, and I just don't want to do it. It's another thing to keep track of, but anyway, no, I don't.
Instagram would probably be the easiest to try to build because you can do the least interaction if you just start posting pictures and just just let it go for that,
Yeah.
and don't even worry about advertising your channel so you can try to get a little bit of a following on it.
That's I kind of struggle with that anyway. I've been pretty generic about building my channel, and the whole promotion thing and selfless promotion and throwing yourself out there, that's hard for me. That part of YouTube is very hard for me, so I just kind of do what I do and plug along. But that information you were giving me earlier before the show, stuff like that, like, yeah, I'd love to pick your brain later.
Dude,
Privately,
at any time, which my audience knows. All you guys got to do is you get a hold of me anytime. I kind of did it as a joke. We have these new membership things, so I wrote it out like it'll cost you money to talk to me. But anybody who follows me, y'all already know. You just get a hold of me with any questions. I'll help you with anything. And yeah, definitely, dude. We'll go over some more of your videos. I'll even tell you some things that you can do to your best videos and make them even bang harder. So there's a lot you can do.
I'm open to suggestions because I have no idea what I'm doing. I haven't put too much effort into that part of it.
Well, when I seen what your channel's doing on its own, and then I looked at your descriptions, I was like, oh, dude, man, I can so help. I know I can help you. It's not, you can't always help a channel by telling them the right thing, because sometimes what they're doing isn't getting searched, it isn't getting viewed, and now you're playing with trying to figure out how to make that be seen. But what you're doing should be right up there with everybody else, especially on the build. Good God, because especially guys, if you want to see a outdoor base camp build, you gotta check out not anymore an A-frame, now a lean-to, but you gotta check it out. This is the lean-to on steroids. It is incredible. It is incredible. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
And Gail, hello, welcome. I am getting ready to jump out though. Yankee is the most helpful people. Thank you, Gail. That is so nice of you to say, hon. I do believe we wrapped up, guys. I want to throw in there one more time before I end it all together to remind everybody that, yes, you can, with your naked eye, go find Saturn and Jupiter in the sky. And it's really easy. Look to the southwest sky after sunset, and you're looking for those two bright stars. They actually appear really soon after sunset. Two really bright stars sitting on a 45-degree angle there, and they're getting closer and closer and closer. And on December 21st of this year, which happens to be the winter solstice, they will look to the naked eye as if they are one body in the sky. It's what they're calling a Christmas star. So check it out. Get outdoors. Check it out. Have an adventure.
That's cool.
Justin, I appreciate you, bro. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Thank you to everybody that tuned in, for sure. Yes. And thank you, Yankee, for having me. This was awesome.
Anytime. Anytime. Definitely have you come back anytime, too. I'm going to wrap off then. Go ahead and stay on the line, Jason. Justin, I'm sorry. Don't back out. And, guys, again, if anybody out there watching, you want to be part of the show, get a hold of me in social media, in a comment section down below, an email. You can find all my contact information in my About section. And until our trails meet again, I hope all your adventures are awesome. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we are 3, 2